Hashtag Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, Pablo Picasso, the painting that changed the female nude forever. In 1907, a young Spanish artist created a painting that would change the history of modern art. It was not beautiful in the traditional sense. It was not graceful. It was not comfortable to look at. 5 women stand before us, their bodies broken into sharp geometric shapes, their faces transformed into strange and unsettling masks. Their eyes stare at us. Their bodies seem to twist in different directions. The space around them appears fractured. This was Pablo Picasso's Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. And when Picasso created it, he was not simply painting 5 women. He was attacking centuries of artistic tradition. For hundreds of years, European artists had developed a very particular idea of beauty. The female body was supposed to be harmonious, elegant, balanced, soft. Artists studied classical sculptures and Renaissance paintings to learn how the human body should look. The nude figure was often presented as an ideal of perfection. Picasso wanted to break that idea apart. He wanted to show that beauty did not have to follow the rules. And so he began experimenting. The painting that eventually became Les Demoiselles d'Avignon went through numerous sketches and revisions. Picasso changed the figures again and again. He simplified their bodies. He distorted their faces. He fractured their forms. He abandoned traditional perspective. Instead of creating a believable 3-dimensional room, Picasso made the space feel compressed and unstable. The women seemed to exist simultaneously from different viewpoints. A shoulder may face one direction while the body turns another. The result is almost like looking at a human figure through pieces of broken glass. But who are these women? The title refers to women of a street in Barcelona known as Cara d'Avignon, or Avignon Street. The women are generally understood to be prostitutes in a brothel. But Picasso's painting does not tell a conventional story about them. There is no romantic narrative. There is no beautiful setting. Instead, the women confront the viewer directly. They are not passive decorations. They dominate the canvas. Their bodies occupy almost the entire picture, and their eyes seem to challenge the person standing in front of them. This was radically different from many traditional European nudes. The viewer was accustomed to looking at the female body as an object of beauty. Picasso changed the relationship. Now, the figures look back. They seem aware of our presence. And instead of inviting us into a beautiful fantasy, they confront us with something unsettling. The most shocking part of the painting may be the faces. 2 of the women on the right have faces resembling masks. Their features are sharp and distorted. Their eyes do not match. Their noses seem almost carved into the surface. Their expressions are difficult to read. Picasso was fascinated by art from outside the European tradition, including African masks and Iberian sculpture. These influences helped him move away from naturalistic representation. But there is an important historical complexity here. Picasso and many European artists of his generation encountered African art through colonial systems that treated African cultures as objects for European consumption. So while these influences were revolutionary for modern European art, they also belong to a complicated history of cultural appropriation and colonial power. That complexity makes the painting even more interesting to study today. Picasso was not simply discovering a new kind of beauty. He was living in a world where European artists were encountering cultures and artistic traditions very different from their own. He absorbed those influences and transformed them into something radically new. When Picasso showed the painting to friends and fellow artists, the reaction was not immediately positive. Many were confused. Some disliked it intensely. Even people close to Picasso found it difficult to understand. The artist Henri Matisse was reportedly disturbed by the work. Picasso's friend and collector Gertrude Stein also became part of the circle surrounding this new artistic revolution. But Picasso did not abandon the painting. He believed he was moving towards something important. And eventually, the world caught up with him. Les Demoiselles d'Avignon became one of the crucial stepping stones toward Cubism. Cubism would soon transform Western art. Instead of presenting an object from one fixed viewpoint, Cubist artists began showing different viewpoints at the same time. A face could be seen from the front and side. A guitar could be broken into geometric planes. A human body could be reconstructed rather than simply copied. The goal was no longer to reproduce what the eye saw in a single moment. The artist could show how the mind understands an object. That was revolutionary. For centuries, artists had worked toward creating the illusion of three-dimensional reality on a flat surface. Picasso and Georges Braque helped turn that tradition upside down. The painting became less like a window looking onto the world. It became an independent object, a world created by the artist. And the female nude became one of the places where this revolution could be seen most dramatically. Look carefully at the 5 women. They are not idealized goddesses. They are not presented as delicate beauties. They are angular, powerful, uncomfortable, almost aggressive. Their bodies have been transformed into shapes. Their faces have become masks. Their presence is overwhelming. The traditional nude had often asked the viewer to admire. Picasso's nude demands that the viewer think, what is a body? What is beauty? Who decides what a beautiful woman should look like? And why should art reproduce reality exactly as the eye sees it? These questions helped open the door to an entirely new century of art. After Picasso, artists increasingly felt free to distort the human body, abandon realistic perspective, and invent new visual languages. The influence reached far beyond painting. Sculpture, photography, architecture, film, and graphic design would all be transformed by modernist ideas. Les Demoiselles d'Avignon therefore represents more than 5 figures on a canvas. It represents a moment when an old artistic world began to collapse. Picasso was only 25 years old when he created the work. He was still young, but he was already challenging one of the oldest traditions in Western art. The nude had been painted for thousands of years. Picasso asked whether it had to remain beautiful according to the old rules. His answer was no. Beauty could be fragmented. Beauty could be strange. Beauty could be disturbing. Beauty could even be frightening. And perhaps beauty did not have to be the purpose at all. More than a century later, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon remains one of the most important paintings in modern art. It is also one of the most debated. Some people see it as a masterpiece. Others see it as deliberately harsh. Some admire its revolutionary power. Others question the cultural influences behind its creation. But whatever our opinion, one thing is difficult to deny. Picasso changed the conversation. He took the traditional female nude and shattered its familiar form. From those fragments, he helped build something new, modern art. And perhaps that is why these 5 women continue to stare at us more than 100 years later. They are not simply figures from a painting. They are witnesses to the moment when artists stopped asking, how do we paint the world exactly as it appears? And began asking something much more dangerous. What if we create a completely new way of seeing it?